From the midterm elections this morning, getting to know congressional candidate Francine Busby. You probably know her name. She's ran the last time, and she's challenging Brian Bilbray in the 50th. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I see you brought some props.
We did. We brought some trick-or-treats for you and all your friends here to make sure that, anyway, we're going to be voting on Tuesday. We don't want to have any trick-or-treats on the election day. We want to make sure people know that they're voting, it's really serious, and that they get a representative who's going to work for them here and fight for them in Congress.
All right. So this is the second time, I believe at least the second time you've run against Brian Bilbray, right?
Right. I ran in a special election to replace Duke Cunningham in 2006, and we had a series of 3 elections in 6 months. So that was a big year, and I'm back again because I'm running for the same reason. I think the people of the 50th District deserve somebody who belongs in the community, who's listening to them, who cares, and is really plugged into their issues, is going to work for them and not lobbyists and other people in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, all right. Well, you opened it up. You know, this cigar club issue, apparently he's accused of sort of starting this cigar club that was friendly to lobbyists, and it's against certain congressional rules. He claims that, you know, he's at an arm's length from this, but nonetheless, you think this is an issue.
Well, he actually sponsored the club, and that gives him some responsibility in this club, and the fact that there are lobbyists on the board and lobbyist members and lobbyists funding lavish parties is completely against ethical rules in Congress. It's supposed to be an organization for staffers and members to get together to have mutual interests, whether it's bike riding or playing bridge. In this case, it's smoking cigars, but the fact that tens of thousands of dollars have been spent by lobbyists does raise big ethical issues.
And you think that influences decisions?
Well, it does. I mean, for example, there was a lobbyist from the NRA there, and then Mr. Bilbray sponsored legislation that would loosen the restrictions on carrying concealed weapons in school zones. I'm in the 50th District. I'm on a school board. I am a mother. That is not serving me, it's not serving the people here, but apparently he was influenced by those lobbyists, or he wouldn't have ever even considered doing that. I certainly wouldn't.
All right, if you're elected, there's so many issues you're going to be dealing with. One of the biggest ones is health care. A lot of people are saying, let's scrap it entirely. If, you know, if the Republicans come in and they take control, scrap it and start over. How do you feel about health care, how it's working now, and how it's going to develop over the future?
Well, I think everybody agrees that what we have now with we have 46 million uninsured Americans is unsustainable. It's going to bankrupt our governments, our families, our businesses don't want to carry that burden. It needed to be reformed. We've taken that first step, and I think everyone can see how difficult it was to take that first step because it's very complex, and there's a lot of interest competing. I want to be at that table, and I want to work with our local healthcare professionals to get it right. And these next 4 years are critical. We don't want to go backward. We want to go forward and get it right with prevention, efficiency, lowering costs, making sure it's accessible and affordable to everybody.
So you don't like the so-called Obamacare as it is?
I think it has a lot of good things in it. It's going to help our seniors. It's going to decrease their costs for prescriptions. It's going to make sure that up to 26-year-olds can stay on their parents' policies. They're not going to be able to deny care to people any longer. No more caps on what the maximum amount insurance companies are willing to pay. There's a lot of things that are going to benefit people right away in that bill, but it's going to be a 4-year process to really flesh it out, and I want to be there to make sure we get it right.
Make changes as you go along. Big military town, obviously. Over 300,000 members of the military here in town. We're involved in 2 wars right now, at least 2 major wars. What about Afghanistan? Would you put a deadline to pull out, or how would you handle that? How would you vote on that?
Well, I think President Obama said in 2011 we will start to bring our troops back. But he's also said we're in a transition, and right now our generals are over there, and I think they're doing a good job. What they're trying to do is make sure that the Afghanistan troops are going to be up to speed to protect their own country. It's a very different culture that we have, and I'm hoping that they're empowering them to take over and to try to create some stability. But I think we will be involved there, maybe not militarily, but through financial support, humanitarian support, and diplomatic support to make sure we get it right.
Let's talk quickly about what happened at the fundraiser that you had a couple years ago. You were at your friend's house, and just by way of background, and there was a noise complaint, and you were having a campaign fundraiser. There was a lot of your friends there, and what, 30?
Yeah, there were
40
probably
people.
30 or 40 people at the height of the event, and I spoke at about 8 o'clock, and at 9:30 the sheriff showed up, apparently for a noise complaint. None of us knew why he was there. There was very little noise. The event was over, and it was very quiet. And but things got out of hand, and the next thing we knew, he did throw the hostess on the ground and
Pepper spray.
brought out pepper spray. People were hurt. They were on the floor. She was dragged through,
This is a 62-year-old
broken
woman?
glass. This is a 60-year-old woman.
Yeah.
And it was very frightening. It was very, very frightening because the pepper spray was flying and people were being disabled. People were handcuffed. Later, 5 or 6 more deputies came. The helicopters came, the K-9 unit came, and as you know, there was a settlement, and clearly there were a lot of violations of civil rights there, and I've learned a lot. We need to protect our civil rights. We should all be informed about our civil rights so we know what our rights are in our homes.
Yeah, so the settlement was for 1.2 million. Is that what it
Yeah.
was? And it's split among several people at the party?
Apparently there were 8 parties to that. I was
Yeah.
not a party to it.
Right.
However, the other things that I think are even more important is that the sheriff will be apologizing for this, and they've made changes in their procedures, which was, I think, a goal of these women to make sure that they never did this again to anybody else. And let's see, what was the third thing? That again, to make sure this didn't happen to anybody else.
Yeah, they changed their policies.
Right,
yeah,
right.
They did, as a result of that.
Oh, and the records, they cleared their records of any wrongdoing.
Cleared the sheriff's record?
Well, no,
Or
cleared the victims.
the victims.
Right.
All right. Okay, so Election Day is Tuesday, and everybody has a big decision to make, obviously. Brian Bilbray, Francine Busby, round 2, if you will. And I guess it's everybody's civic duty to get out there and vote, or you can't complain.
Absolutely. So I hope everybody gets out there and votes on Tuesday.
All right, Francine Busby, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You got it.
Thank
All
you.
right.